Imagine waking up tomorrow and, well, discovering that the universe isn't some random accident of physics.
Right, like finding out it's actually a meticulously coded, massively multiplayer simulation.
Exactly. I mean, what if every blade of grass is explicitly programmed? What if your specific biological limits were literally chosen by a developer?
And, what if your worst headache or that huge argument you had last week is really just an error log?
Like it's just pointing to a mistake you made in your own code.
Yeah.
It's a wild concept. But today, we're opening up a philosophical blueprint that attempts to argue exactly that.
Yeah, and since you are here listening, we know you're a learner. You are always looking for those new, sweeping perspectives that challenge how you view the world.
But, without getting bogged down in information overload. So let's get into it.
The source material we are pulling apart today definitely doesn't lack ambition. We are exploring excerpts from a text by Shuafeng titled The Eight Meanings of the Way of the Greatest Creator.
And it is attempting something monumental, right? It's weaving the core teachings of Jesus, Buddha, Lao Tzu, and Muhammad into the single, unified cosmological framework.
It really is a massive, sweeping worldview. But before we get into the literal architecture of how this text claims the universe operates, we probably need to establish some parameters.
Yeah, that's crucial, because this text makes definitive and honestly sometimes controversial claims about religion, philosophy, and human biology.
Right. It actively critiques certain spiritual traditions and elevates others. So our mission here is not to endorse this worldview.
Definitely not. Nor are we here to take sides on the religious or philosophical ideologies it presents. We are acting entirely as neutral guides to this material.
Exactly. Our objective is just to unpack the mechanics of these ideas. We want you to understand the structural integrity of the thought process behind them.
Regardless of whether you actually agree with the ultimate conclusions.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're trying to build a unified theory of everything, you have to start at the absolute beginning. In this framework, where does the universe actually boot up?
Okay, so the origin point in this text is called Wuji. Picture an initial state of absolute void.
Like complete unbounded chaos.
Yeah, exactly. There is no shape, no soul, no time. It is simply the random, unordered movement of invisible energy.
But then something happens within that infinite random motion, right?
Right. A sequence accidentally forms. Basically, a structure emerges out of the chaos.
And the text claims that the moment that sequence forms, consciousness is born. It explicitly states that structure generates consciousness.
Yes. And this original emergent cosmic consciousness is what Shafeng identifies as the greatest creator, or Allah, or the ancestor of Buddha.
So the argument is that all these different cultural names are just pointing to the exact same originating operating system. Okay, let's unpack this a bit more.
What's fascinating here is that the text doesn't just stay in the realm of vague spiritual metaphor. It really gets into the mechanics of that awakening.
Right. It details the formation of yin and yang, and then the construction of exactly 20 parallel worlds.
In a 36-dimensional space. But it's not just throwing out sci-fi numbers for fun. It describes this 36-dimensional space as functioning almost like a tiered server architecture.
Meaning, like, your frequency or the state of your consciousness dictates which of those 36 dimensions you can actually access.
Exactly. It reads incredibly like a highly advanced game environment being compiled from scratch.
It's crazy how it deliberately blends ancient spiritual vocabulary with these almost modern technological concepts.
Yeah, and once this 36-dimensional architecture is in place, the creator doesn't just sit back and passively watch.
Right. The creator designs a blueprint.
Yes, and tasks the first batches of life, which the text refers to as gods and angels, to start constructing the physical universe based entirely on that blueprint.
And they mean everything, down to the microscopic level. I mean, the text explicitly states that even the simplest blade of grass isn't natural.
Right, or even the most basic bacterial microorganisms. They are not formed by natural random evolution over billions of years.
They're the result of what the text calls a reproduction program.
Which means the universe is running on a cosmic operating system. And the text redefines this system as the Tao.
Right, and we usually encounter the Tao in Eastern philosophy as this mystical, flowing river of existence that you just surrender to.
But here, the Tao is defined as the consciousness of the creator in active mechanical operation. It's much more rigid.
Like how human societies run on constitutions and laws. Those laws don't enforce themselves. You need judges, police, administrators.
Exactly, operating the system behind the scenes. In this worldview, the cosmic law, the Tao, is the constitution of the universe, and it's actively operated by the creator.
Controls the macro and the micro, the ebb and flow of the tide, the changing of seasons.
Even the precise biological development of a fertilized ovum into a human being with eyes, hair, hands, and feet, it is tightly managed, executing code.
I mean, I have to push back on this setup a little. If everything from the movement of Jupiter to the growth of a baby is strictly controlled by this programmed Tao, doesn't that render us completely obsolete? If there is a literal reproduction program governing my existence, it sounds like we are just non-player characters.
Like NPCs walking along pre-rendered paths.
Exactly. Where is the room for human agency in all of this?
Well, the text actually anticipates that friction. It differentiates between the unchangeable parameters of the environment, the simulation's code, and the function of the individual within it.
Okay.
If the universe is a meticulously coded program, your specific function is dictated entirely by your physical structure. Remember earlier when we said structure generates consciousness?
Right, yeah.
This means structure also determines nature. The examples the text uses are very pragmatic.
Like a dog's physical structure gives it the innate nature to guard a yard. A cat's structure dictates it should catch mice.
Exactly. A rooster's biology means it crows, and a hen's biology means it lays eggs.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Applying that same rigid logic to human biology and spirituality completely flips the script on traditional religious practices.
It absolutely does. The text takes a highly controversial, really aggressive stance against any form of asceticism or bodily denial.
It explicitly calls out Buddhist monks and nuns,
Right.
as well as Christian priests and sisters.
Yes, the argument being that suppressing human nature is a literal violation of the cosmic blueprint.
Right, because the Creator gave humans eyes to see, ears to hear, and sexual organs to procreate.
So to take a vow of celibacy or to retreat into a dark cave to meditate away your physical desires.
The text views that as an insult to the developer who coded your avatar. It is a deviation from your programmed nature.
And that critique extends to the other end of the spectrum, too. It's not just about suppressing nature, it's about trying to artificially transcend it.
Right, like trying to hack the code. It heavily criticizes certain Chinese Taoist practices.
Yeah, like attempting to open the third eye, trying to make plant seeds germinate in your bare hands, or manipulating the body's meridians.
And it points to very specific biological limits to prove this point. Human vision is biologically capped to see wavelengths between 400 and 700 nanometers.
And our hearing is capped between 20 and 20,000 hertz.
And the text basically says, that is enough. That is your optimized hardware loadout. That is exactly what you were programmed to experience to function properly here.
Trying to transcend those limits is portrayed as unnatural and doomed to fail. You cannot attain enlightenment, or Buddhahood, as the text terms it, without conforming to your basic nature.
The phrase used in the source is highlighting innate natures. But does this mean we shouldn't strive for any self-improvement at all?
How do you mean?
Well, if my biological impulse is to, say, eat 5 slices of cake or lash out in anger, and trying to master those base instincts through discipline is deviating from the way.
Oh, I see.
That sounds like a recipe for total chaos. Are we just supposed to act on every feral impulse because it's our hardware?
No. The text draws a sharp line between feral indulgence and optimal functioning. It isn't advocating for uncontrolled behavior.
Okay, so how does it frame self-improvement?
It argues for the optimization of the hardware you were given rather than trying to rewrite your foundational code.
Like a governor on a sports car engine. You are capped at a certain speed for your own good.
Exactly. Or think of it like tuning an instrument. You don't tune an acoustic guitar to make it sound like a synthesizer.
Right, you tune it to be the most perfect acoustic guitar possible.
Yes. Self-improvement in this framework is operating exactly within that 400 to 700 nanometer bandwidth at peak efficiency.
Got it. But if we are optimized hardware strictly coded for our reality, a glitch in the system shouldn't be possible, right?
Right, in a perfect operating system.
So getting sick, facing a massive hardship, failing at a job, who is writing the bugs? This text takes a pretty brutal stance on that.
It does. It says you are. This brings us to the text's unyielding views on karma and absolute personal responsibility.
It's intense. It starts by framing reverence for the creator, not as a fearful subservience, but as a pragmatic business deal.
It actually calls it a deal with only gains but no losses. You emulate the creator through joyful labor and selfless dedication.
Simply because aligning your behavior with the system administrator makes the system run smoother for you.
Exactly, but the flip side of that is how it views reality. The text states that reality is the portrayal of the diverse, free consciousness of life.
Basically, frequencies resonate. Like attracts like.
Yeah.
And it uses incredibly blunt, everyday examples to drive this home.
It really does. It says if you have loose bowels today, it is because you ate rotten food.
Or if you have a headache, it's because you wore the wrong clothes for the weather, or you lacked sleep from overthinking.
It does not deal in vague spiritual mysteries. It says if someone scolds you today, it is because you hurt them in the past.
It functions exactly like an error log on a computer server. Every single time the system crashes, the log points directly back to a specific user input error.
There are no random glitches. The text quotes, "Divine punishments, though slow, are always sure."
It establishes a core, unbreakable rule for this universe. You cannot blame heaven, you cannot blame the earth, you cannot blame society.
And you cannot blame other people for your misfortunes. If something is wrong in your life, the universe isn't broken.
You made a localized error in your consciousness that manifested physically. I have to say, I struggle to accept that without heavy reservations.
This raises an important question, for sure.
Right. I mean, if someone is born into extreme poverty or a child falls severely ill, saying that is simply a result of their own false consciousness.
Yeah, it's tough.
It feels like victim blaming on a cosmic scale. Doesn't this completely ignore the reality of random chance or deeply entrenched systemic societal issues?
It does, and that is the most significant friction point for a modern audience analyzing this framework. It demands a radical, almost terrifying shift in the locus of control.
How does the text even justify the sheer weight and potential cruelty of that perspective?
Well, the text doesn't really concern itself with the emotional weight of that cruelty. It looks at it purely mechanically.
Right.
Systemic issues exist, but in this worldview, you navigating them is still governed entirely by your own karmic input.
I mean, I hear the psychological benefit of that. If I remove every single external scapegoat, I am no longer a victim of circumstance?
Exactly. If your reality is 100% your fault, then it is 100% within your power to fix.
Right. The text argues that carrying around blame, even justified blame toward a corrupt society, creates a confused, low-frequency life.
Accepting absolute, unforgiving responsibility forces you to audit your own actions constantly. The text claims this results in a life that is as clear as crystal.
You become the active programmer of your own immediate reality,
Yeah.
rather than a passive object being acted upon by the universe.
Right.
But carrying around that level of absolute responsibility for every single headache, every minor argument, every misfortune,
It sounds exhausting, doesn't it?
it really does. If I am constantly auditing my karmic error log, life becomes an incredibly heavy burden.
And it would be if the text stopped there. But this is where Shui Feng executes the most fascinating thematic pivot in the entire work.
Oh yeah. It builds this massive 36-dimensional universe,
Wow.
assigns strict biological parameters, demands absolute personal responsibility.
And then it reveals the ultimate purpose behind all of that complex machinery.
So what does this all mean? The text asks a central question. Did the Creator make humans to suffer?
To fight, worry, and agonize over power, anxiety, and our karmic debt.
And the answer is an emphatic no. The absolute theme of life, according to this highly programmed worldview, is happiness, joy, freedom, and blessing.
It roots this entirely in sensory reality. It points to the blue sky, the white clouds, the sound of birds twittering.
It explicitly brings up the enjoyment of physical love again, basically asking, how does it feel? Wonderful, right?
The philosophical argument is that the Creator deliberately designed our organs and our senses specifically to experience pleasure.
That sensory joy is the ultimate proof of the blueprint's success. It radically reframes the daily grind.
Yeah, growing crops, going to work, starting a business, making money. The text states unequivocally that these are never ends in themselves.
Right. Working for the sake of working is a delusion. Those activities are strictly tools meant to facilitate a happy, free life.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the text compares the universe to a stage of joy. It says, all is but a game.
Like loading into an incredibly rich open-world game, right?
Yeah.
You are given a specific avatar, with specific stats.
You're meant to run around, explore the map, experience the graphics, and just enjoy the gameplay.
But instead of playing, people spend their entire playthroughs stressing out in the inventory menu.
Right. They hoard virtual gold, they fight other players in the lobby, and they get furious when another player has a bigger virtual house.
The text says that excessive attachment, possessing too much, occupying too much, that is what ruins the experience. Taking the game too seriously turns a comedy into a tragedy.
Because at the end of the day, when the avatar's life cycle ends, nothing material goes with you.
The text asserts that after death, only your consciousness is real. The gold, the house, the job title, they all stay on the server.
It is a profound call to lightness. Play the game as much as you like. Enjoy it to the fullest if it's fun. And if it's not fun, let it go.
Why are you so serious and so attached? The text asks. And I want to turn that directly to you listening right now.
Yeah, think about your daily routine. Are you grinding for gold just for the sake of hoarding it?
Are you caught up in the stress of the inventory menu, or are you actually using that work, using those tools to go out and enjoy the game you were programmed to play?
It forces an audit of our priorities. It challenges you to ask if you have lost the true nature of life in the exhausting pursuit of managing the logistics of living.
The paradox is beautiful, really. The universe is governed by uncompromising laws and radical personal responsibility.
Specifically so that you have a stable platform on which to play and experience joy.
We have covered a massive amount of philosophical ground today. We started at the void of Wuji, mapping out a 36-dimensional server architecture that runs on a cosmic operating system.
We explored a controversial embrace of raw human biology, that 400 to 700 nanometer bandwidth.
Right, rejecting both asceticism and mysticism in favor of optimizing the hardware you were actually given.
And we waded through the incredibly heavy, uncomfortable waters of radical personal responsibility.
Where every illness and every insult is viewed as a direct mirror of our own karmic input.
And then we landed on the realization that this entire intricate, high-stakes system was designed simply for us to experience joy, pleasure, and freedom in a cosmic game.
It demands total accountability, but promises profound liberation in return, provided you remember not to take the stage props too seriously.
It's a framework that challenges you to stop fighting your nature and start playing the game you are actually in.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. We talked about how, in this framework, only your consciousness survives after the game ends.
Right, the material world stays behind.
So think about your biggest life stressor right now. Maybe it's a looming deadline at work, a difficult relationship dynamic, or a massive financial worry.
Yeah.
If this text is right, and all of that is just temporary code running in a simulation, how would viewing that heavy, exhausting stressor as merely a temporary game mechanic change the way you tackle it tomorrow morning?
That's a great question to end on.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the architecture of the cosmos, the limits of human nature, and the ultimate game. Keep asking the big questions, and we will see you next time.